Today, as I mentioned earlier, we have our first international presenter. Very, very excited about that. Miss Ozana Giusca, originally from Romania, now a British citizen living in the UK. So she's broadcasting London time in the evening. Ozana and I met through LinkedIn. We've never met face to face, but as most relationships these days, we've developed a digital relationship, and that's appropriate because that's really what she's going to be talking about. Helping us understand how to really use the digital world to get more efficient with our business and be able to, really build a business using tools that really just 5 or 6 years ago were not available to us. Ozana is the founder and managing director of Tool Years. That's her company that she has founded, where she works with a number of companies in the middle market as well as in the startup realm in accelerating their profits. And she'll be telling us today about how to really use digital connections in terms of growing a business and really working smarter and not necessarily harder. I've been using digital techniques for, gosh, I guess going into 4 years now on my business, and it's just amazing. I've been able to cut back significantly on my travel. I've been able to develop great relationships through, one-to-many types of programs. And I've really found that, as she will be telling us, having fewer meetings, but having meetings that are much more meaningful, particularly from prospecting standpoint, is a great way to spend your time and not certainly spin your wheels or spin on the hamster wheel, so to speak. So without further ado, as folks have come into the room, welcome. Great to see you here. Appreciate you joining us. Looks like pretty much from all over the world. I'd like to welcome in Ozana. Ozana, would you please join me?
Yes, hello, Brad, and hello, everyone. I'm really pleased to be here with you, and I'll get going, right? I can share my screen?
Absolutely. You go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and go on video. I will just say that Ozana would like folks to be able to ask questions as we go. So please put them in the chat box. I'll put them forward to her. And for those that don't get a chance to ask those questions, we can have a Q&A section after that. So Ozana, over to you.
Super. So we are going to be talking about what's most important in this digital world to become a market leader. And I've prepared this presentation for you guys because I understand you are in competitive markets where there are many sellers and many buyers for the type of product and service that you sell. I've also thought that you are action takers and you want to implement things from this webinar so that you increase your sales fast. And I know that you are obviously human beings, busy, and time and resources are indeed limited for you as well as for your teams. And you also appreciate online is the future, because otherwise you would not be attending this webinar. And of course, you are driven to succeed. So what you're going to be discovering today is how to win business, and in particular, to be in control with your clients and with limited resources. And why more meetings are not necessarily good for you, and they may actually be slowing your growth. Also, why being obsessed with your product may also not be helping you, and what to do instead. How to use online marketing to have predictable sales. And we're also going to be talking about what's old and what's new in online marketing, and obviously the cutting edge techniques, so you get ahead of your competitors. Now, because you are in business, you have one or more of these 4 challenges. Most entrepreneurs have challenges around money because it's never enough. Even if your business is doing very well, you still want more money for projects, for investments, for expansion, and cash flow is always a challenge for most companies. And most of these challenges regarding money come from clients. They either don't pay on time, or they negotiate to the penny, or they just ask for much more than what was promised. You know all that stuff because you've been in business for quite a bit. The next challenge is about time. None of us has enough time. But then what I want you to think about is, how is it possible for Richard Branson or other entrepreneurs like him who have 400 companies and still do his crazy stuff, go to the moon and do whatever he wants to do. So it's not that we don't have the time, It's just that we don't use the time properly or efficiently to get what we want. The next challenge is obviously about resources. And in particular, it's about people, because it becomes increasingly difficult to attract talent and obviously get the right people, do the right thing, and get them committed and get them to stay for a long time in the job. And a lot of the companies in startup as well as in the mid-market complain that they don't find the right resources. But I just want to bring to your attention McDonald's, because they always find resources. So if you ever think about it, have you ever been in McDonald's to have no one serving you your burger or your French fries? That's not really the case. So there is a solution for resources as well, to always have them and find them in the right time. And the fourth challenge is being overwhelmed. With so many things going on, with so many changes happening in the world right now, with so much technology and artificial intelligence, all that automation and new things that are coming up, we basically need help. So I believe that it's increasingly interesting and there is a need for every single one of us to have a mentor, to have coaches, to have advisors, to have people helping us so that we can cope and we're not that stressed as basically the world is doing to us at the moment. What I want to propose to you today to think about your business in terms of customer's journey, because this is one of the keys as a solution to the most of the challenges that we have today. And even this customer's journey is a solution even to the resources challenge that we have. So what do I mean by customer's journey? Is really getting the person, the potential client, from not knowing who you are all the way to buying from you, buying even more from you, loving, respecting you, and recommending you to others. And you might think, okay, how do I do that? Because most people or most companies take too much time until a sale is achieved. And I'm going to go into solutions and details as well. As Brand said earlier, communicate one-to-many. So you get the customer's journey, you get the customer to love, trust, and respect you in a one-to-many type of communication. And you use automated communication for a majority of the customer's journey, not for all of it. And I'm going to go into this detail as well, because these days people want to interact with people, but there are certain things, a lot of the things that we can do on an automated type basis as well. What I'm going to propose to you works both for products and services and works for online and offline. And ideally, regardless of what kind of the type of business and product or service you have at the moment, ideally you want to combine all of this. You want to combine products and services, you want to combine online and offline communication as well as delivery or sale, depending on the type of business. And the reason why I'm saying this is because people these days expect to have 7 hours of communication with your brand before they make a purchase decision. And that is huge. It's literally very difficult and costly to have 7 hours of meetings or discussions with every single potential client. But this is what people want, okay, in order to make a purchase decision. Even more so, they expect to have these 7 hours of interactions in 4 different locations and in 11 ways, and 50% of it should be human. Now, I'm saying 50% should be human doesn't mean that they expect only human, or that if you have only human is helping. It's actually helping you if you have a combination of human and non-human interaction. I'm going to explain as we go. Basically, the more variety you add in your communication in terms of locations, ways, and what do I mean by that is using different types of media to communicate. Like, for example, this is one way, right? A webinar like this, but it could be a video, could be a blog post, could be a post on social media, could be different types of media that you use in order to communicate with your potential clients. So the more you use, the bigger the mixture, the more complex the mixture, the easier it is for you to make the sale, because people like to consume content these days in different forms and shapes. And a lot of people expect and want to read about your product or service, want to understand about your business online rather than through a meeting. That's one of the reasons why only meetings is not good. So we are now.
Ozana,
Yes.
quick question. If you
Yeah.
could go back to the previous slide.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting statistics there. Tell us a little bit about where that data came from, because I had actually never heard that before, and it's quite kind of stimulating in terms of thinking about contact in that way. So was this research that you've done, or is this
it's not done by me. It's
okay.
done by a guy called David Presley.
Okay, cool.
And initially it was said that you need 16 interactions. Actually,
Right.
initially it was like 6 interactions, then it increased to 9, then to 16, and probably it's more now. But this research now is much more detailed. And if you think about it, that's why Apple has stores, because they could sell online, and most of their sales are online. But
Right,
people
right.
still want to go into a store. So that's one way of interacting with people, by having a flagship store.
Right, right. Fascinating. Maybe as a follow-up, when we can go out with your presentation, if you can provide a link, to that research, because, I'd love, for one, because I'm sure some of our attendees would as well, is to understand a little bit more about, what does locations mean, right? And what are the various ways in which we connect. But that's fascinating data. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. It's the latest thing that actually I added this slide very recently to the presentation, because I've just got it myself, and it was interesting for me as well. And I realized now it's also because you have so many ways of communicating with people. Like some people prefer email, some people prefer phone conversations, some people prefer messages on Facebook or WhatsApp, or the different types, right? So you've got to be able to communicate with people in the way that they are used to communicating.
Right.
Like if you try to call me and sell me something, I will not buy just because I don't want you to call me.
Right. Right.
But
No,
if you text me or email me, then I would be interested, because that's how I consume, or I get my way of getting information. But some people are used to speaking on the phone and not reading a blog or something.
Yeah. And just for all those that attend, this presentation will be made available with the replay. So you'll all get an email of that. And for those of you that are watching the replay now, you'll be able to get a download of this presentation on our website. Thank you, Ozana. Great question.
And just want to mention on these 7 hours of interaction is really about content, right? It's content marketing. And instead of having 7 hours of meeting where you talk about your product, you're better off having 7 hours of good, interesting content for your potential client, just solving their problems, right? It's all about solving the problems of your clients in a fun, interesting way.
Yeah, the human factor too. That's another thing that is surprising in terms of that percentage. But I know that in my business, people really want to kick the tires. They want to be able to look you in the eye, understand who you are and what you do, and again, I wouldn't have thought it's that high, but when I think about some of the new prospecting that I've done, clearly, you've got to be out there and be in touch with folks.
I believe that obviously in your industry, you would have never ever been able to give it up completely.
Correct.
But there are some industries where people would have purchased from a webinar or from after 3 webinars. Whereas now, if you want to have maximum sales, you need to add a one-to-one discussion, and it doesn't have to be you. So you can deliver the webinar and somebody in your team can do a follow-up discussion.
Got it.
And we actually tested this, and we tested that we've doubled the sales by having this one interaction into a sales funnel.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, we are not talking now business to business or business to consumer, as you probably heard this before. We are talking human to human, because people want to buy from people and they want to connect with people. As you said, they want to look you into your eyes. but it's more than just looking into your eyes. It's really looking into your soul as well. So that's another layer of complexity these days. They want to really get into your beliefs and values and understand you as a person, because you as the person, you gave those values and beliefs and who you are to the company. And the company needs to express those things so people can connect as human to human. Now, how do we do that? How do we do it in a crowded market where it's really very, very hard to make a sale? How do we do it when clients want to be in control these days and they appear that they don't buy? At least a lot of people come to me these days, oh, people are not buying anymore. Then it's too much information. It's way more information than it should be online, in YouTube videos, in blog posts, in everywhere. And people are now confused because most of the information is now contradictory. And what's most interesting is a lot of people put content out which is already dated. A lot of people still put strategies out which are no longer working because things are changing so fast. And then you see one strategy placed by somebody, another strategy which is exactly the opposite, shared by somebody else, and then you get confused, like, okay, which one is right? How do I go about it? What do I do? And now we see a lot of old tactics that it's not only that they don't work, but they also bring bad reputation to the person using those tactics. Because information is now so much available, you see someone doing something and it works, and then you see loads of people copying that tactic or copying the way they do whatever. And then all of a sudden, everybody does, or not everybody, but a lot of people do exactly the same thing. And then if you see it again, you get annoyed. If you see it once more, you go like, oh, okay, this is a copy of something else. I don't want to deal with that person anymore. So it has the opposite effect. So we really need to be very, very careful. And how do we go about it in this complex world? Well, it's about better questions, asking ourselves better questions. And one of the killing questions for me was, how do I get more meetings? I remember my old days when I was doing my own networking and sourcing business the old way, the traditional way, where you meet with people once or twice or 3 times after a networking event or after wherever you meet. I was exhausted. And eventually
I can certainly identify with that.
Exactly.
So many of our attendees as well.
But even though it was exhausting, you would still go for it because it worked. But I see these days that it really doesn't work anymore, because people expect to consume content from you in different ways. And if you just go for meeting and meeting and meeting, they won't buy from you because they want to get other way of engaging with you. So instead of getting yourself more meetings, I would suggest to ask yourself this question: how do I get less meetings, but only the ones that really matter? And how do you do that? Is really by creating this customer's journey and by having the potential customer interact with you, doing this journey for few interactions, depending on your business, before the meeting takes place. So in many industries, it is possible to have the meeting just one step before the close. So you do all the interaction up front in various meetings and webinars and videos and blogs and webinars, everything online. And then you invite people for a meeting where you close the deal. In certain industries, you have one meeting at some point in between, but never ever at the very beginning. Because at the very beginning, if you do meetings at the very beginning, you waste a lot of time, because you provide a lot of information, like basic information about your industry or the type of product or service you sell, or your company or your product, which can be consumed online. And people actually prefer to get that information online when they want, rather than in a meeting when you want to have that meeting. So really,
quick question that came in, Ozana, really helpful, particularly with regards to all of us that are kind of providing professional service types of businesses. When do you know kind of when to make that call, right? In other words, when is it obvious that the face-to-face meeting is now required? Is it when the client prospect asks for it? Is there a certain signal that you look for? Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Oh, that's a really good question. And the way I like to do it is I don't like to ask for the meeting. I want them to ask for the meeting, and I want them to apply for the meeting. Okay, in certain, I provide consulting and mentoring and training, as well as agency marketing, kind of marketing services as well, a combination of these. And instead of me suggesting that I never ever suggest to meet with a client, even though they consumed. I set different steps for them, different videos or different, a journey for them. And they get to a point where they ask me for the meeting.
Got it, right.
And when they ask me for a meeting, I don't say yes. I say, okay, what's the meeting about? What do you want? Can you please give me information about these 3 or 4 questions, depending what it is? Or I give them to watch a video. Because some people say to me, yeah, I want you to help me have the same presence as you have online. Good, but they have nothing, right?
Right.
So I want them to watch a video and then answer some questions, and then I meet with them.
Yeah, understood.
And this way, I kind of filter out everybody that I don't want to work with.
Yeah.
Because some people will realize they're not ready to work with me, and they're better off just buying some digital products from me or attending a workshop or a seminar with me.
Good, very helpful. Thank you.
And another thing is, that's what I'm doing right now, because you suggested to invite people to a 15-minute consult after this webinar, which is not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm inviting everyone for a 3-hour session where I share more. Right. And after that 3-hour session, people who are interested in working with us will say, okay, I want you to do X, Y, Z. Because in that 3-hour session, I'm going to give my view on how to go about creating a bigger, better business, a solid business, a smarter business, as I call it. And I share all the important bits of the smart business from my point of view. And if they resonate, they identify themselves what they need to work on. And then it's very easy for them to say, okay, I want this and this and this from you, rather than me proposing to them things which they don't really have developed a clear desire for.
Right, right. Got it. Makes good sense. Thank you.
So yeah, basically you don't want to waste your time on meetings that lead nowhere, and you don't want to waste your team's time on meetings that lead nowhere. You just want those meetings that make sense. And of course, after this webinar, I use it as an example. If somebody watching this webinar sends me an email or approaches me and says, I want to meet with you, I will say yes, because I know it's already mid-market, so it's within my target range.
Pre-qualified.
They've already consumed my content, this 1 hour, whatever it is, webinar.
Right.
And they come from you, which is a sure source.
Right. Good. Makes good sense.
But I want them to come to the 3 hours where I share even more content. And after that, I want them to approach me.
Right. Good. Thank you. Very helpful.
So yeah, in the UK, there is this statistic that says that the cost to bring in a salesperson, and that's without the salary, is £30,000. And that is like $50,000 just to recruit and train. And you probably know better than me that these numbers are not low, right? So instead of investing into just recruiting a new salesperson, you might want to invest into building a system that brings you leads that want to give you money. Of course, that doesn't say that they should not bring that salesperson. They should have both, but they need to look into perspective as to, okay, how much does it cost you to invest into a system that brings you leads that want to buy from you, versus how much does it cost you, and obviously the salary and the commission of a salesperson doing cold calls, which we know hardly work these days. So do a combination of both. Another question which I'm not really happy with is, how do I get more clients? Of course, we all want more clients, but from my point of view, a better question is, how do you get better clients? And how do you increase sales per client? Because, you know, it costs 7 times more to get a new client than to serve an existing client. So it's just easier to grow your business with existing clients and also with better clients, because better clients recommend you to others and they buy more from you as well. And in order to do everything that I said, I suggest that you go the smart business way, which is my way of saying you need to develop a business that has a very, very clear vision, written on paper, communicated to everyone, so everybody in the company know exactly what the vision is, where the company is going, and you have a flexible approach. Because these days, with so many things happening and changing fast, you need to be able to be flexible so that you adapt very, very rapidly. The second characteristic of the smart business is that you have a very, very clearly defined strategy to attract clients online. It doesn't mean to sell online. It means to attract clients online, to generate business and pass it on to the salespeople afterwards when they're ready, as we've discussed already. Because that's the fastest and easiest way to scale your business and have also a solid pipeline of leads coming in constantly and predictably. And thirdly, and I think most importantly, it's a business that is thought very carefully to leave an impact, to leave a legacy and to make an impact in the world. Because you care about your clients, you care about your employees, you care about people around it, the world as a whole. And when you approach the business from this point of view, you really connect it with your soul. It's a business that expresses you as a person, and then the profits just come as a consequence, as a natural consequence of doing good for the world. That's my view on smart business.
Quick question
Yeah.
there, Ozana. You had mentioned, and maybe you're going to hit this later, or maybe it's something that will be in your more extended session, but someone has asked, you talked about an online strategy to attract others. Is there a format or a template that you recommend to use either on websites or with connection to people online? Are you going to talk about that a little bit, or is that something for a more deeper conversation?
I will show you, I will show you a little bit of how to go about online, what's old, what's new, and what's working right now as a principle, not as a strategy.
Got it. Cool.
Because I believe it's the principle, the strategy, and the tactic and the implementation. And if you just copy a tactic or on an implementation or a template from somebody else, it's not working for you. You've got to understand the principle first, think your way because your business is unique, and then do the other steps. And I'm going to show you those.
Excellent, thank you.
Will eventually take over. So the question you want to ask yourself is your business on the wave, or are you waiting for the wave to hit you? Because this is coming. And especially because 50% of our habits today will disappear or change within the next 5 years. That's what futurist Gerd Leonhard says. So you've got to ask yourself, what happens to my business when the habits that generate demand for the product or service I sell will change? And if you serve other businesses, ask yourself, what happens to my business if the habits of the people who buy from my clients disappear or change within the next 5 years? Just to have things in perspective. So this is the principle that I'm going to talk about now. Traditionally, people in online would be used to putting an ad out there, an advertisement, and expect to make a sale, which happened for many years, and it still does, but less and less so. And now what you want to do in between the ad and the sale, you want to do a free product. That's a guide that people download and they give you the email address. Some people are probably familiar with this already. Some people find it new for the first time. But in addition to the guide, now you also want to have a video or a webinar type of interaction, because as Brand said earlier, people want to see you in your eyes. So ideally, you want to combine them into a flow. So what does it mean? It means that you place an ad, you offer a free download, then you offer a video or a webinar, and then you make the sale. And that's still, a lot of people are familiar with this flow. And as you can see, or those people who have that kind of flows, see a big decrease in the number of sales. Well, actually a big decrease in attendance for the webinar and a big decrease in number of sales. So what you want to do now, and that's really, really new, and it's something that we've discovered, or let's say created, because I felt the need for this for my own business. And what you want is a seduction video. What I mean by this is a video where you express yourself so you connect with your potential client. Because most people these days, when they do online marketing, they get the email address and then they start bombarding people with offers, or yeah, buy my product, or even attend an event or something. And people just don't open emails, or they don't interact with them in any way. So you want to stand out. You want to be someone that they really like, and they expect your emails or your content. And the way to do that, so they choose you versus anybody else, is by having this seduction video very, very early stage in the customer's journey. So immediately after people download something from you, you want to give them this video, which could be 2-3 minutes or 10, depends on how interactive and fun you can make this video, where you really show yourself. You show you as a human behind the business, or you show the values of the business and the beliefs of the business, so the person connects at personal level. And this video, I believe, is crucial in today's world, because if you don't have this video, people won't connect with you. If people don't understand your values and what you stand for, they will simply not want to deal with you. If they understand your values and beliefs, and if you are on the same wavelength, then they will want to do business with you. If you are not on the same wavelength, then they won't. But they won't anyway. So the only way, from my point of view now, to win business is to show yourself, your inside self, as early as possible to your potential clients. And I believe the small businesses are the ones changing the world, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is one of my beliefs, and if you connect with this belief, then you will be more keen to do business with me. If you also connect, I've also mentioned before that we build a legacy, we make an impact, and we change the world. We make the life of our clients better. We contribute. If you have this kind of values, then you will want to do business with me. If you are for the quick money, get rich tomorrow, then you won't want to do business with me. And that's fine. So you want to share what you stand for, so that you attract the right people come your way. And I just want to show—
Ozana, we couple of quick questions. We got a lot of great reactions to the seduction video. I had not heard that before, nor had many of our attendees.
Because it's my own.
I love it. I love it. It's terrific. Now, a couple of questions on that. And again, if we're getting into detail that you'll approach later, tell me so. But is that something— there was two questions. Number one, is that something that you lead with? In other words, you show it after the ad and after, kind of the free product. Is there opportunities to lead with that seduction video? And the second question is, how long are those videos? Are they kind of just short 1 minute, kind of teasers to, as you said, communicate your passion and your interest? Are they of longer duration? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I would go two ways. So I would go with a very short one, like 2 minutes for me is short for a seduction video. And with that short seduction video, I would give it after a download or after a reaction. But I would also lead with a longer seduction video, So what I want to show you is one of our clients who sells this lamps to heat outside. And he traditionally was only selling through big supermarkets and chains, right? And after he understood this online marketing, he put up a guide which shows you how to come up with the right combination to heat up your house so that you are energy efficiency at maximum and you save as much as possible on energy. And after that guide, he also proposed these lamps. We built the sales funnel for him. And in August, which is the hottest month of the year, where none of the stores
Ozana, it looks like you have a visitor behind you.
Oh, do I have Sebastian? That's my son, Sebastian. Sorry. He's
Hello,
not
Sebastian.
patient anymore. Well, now you can come and say hello.
For him, I think. Huh?
So that is my son. Hello and goodbye.
Hello, Sebastian.
So yeah, with this heating lamp, as I said, in August, none of the stores would want to even stock any of these lamps because people don't buy them in this summertime, right? When it's hot outside. And he did this sales funnel in August. He put an ad with Facebook, and he generated 1,500 leads. So that means it's 1,500 people who downloaded his guide. And right after that, he offered this lamp, and there were 3 sales made right after the download. These are the kind of numbers that you can get in an online sales funnel, but it doesn't mean that the other 1,497 people will not buy. It's just that those 3 only purchased on the spot in the summertime. The others, or some of the others, will purchase later on. So this is the kind of approach you want to have with an online sales funnel. I have another example here. He's a doctor, so professional services. And he was doing one-to-one consults for getting into his program to lose weight, as well as for delivering the program. And what we did with him was communicating one-to-many. We introduced communicating one-to-many. Hey, Sebastian, you're making noise for that. Can you please go upstairs? Okay, thanks. Sorry. So we've introduced the communication one-to-many, both before the sale and after the sale. What does it mean? So instead of having people to have one-to-one meetings with him that were interested in losing weight, he would have those people come to a workshop, which we also promoted, by the way, with Facebook ads. And from that workshop, there will be some people who would join his program. So instead of having, as you can see here, it's like 60 people or so. Instead of having 60 meetings one-to-one, imagine how much time they take. He would have 3 hours workshop, and out of those 3 hours, there will be 10, 15 people getting into his program. So it's much more efficient to do it this way. And then with the delivery side, he has a program where he does some blood tests, and then the computer generates a program to eat based on the body. And he then also has 8 sessions with each client. So instead of having these 8 sessions individually, he delivers part of the sessions individually and part of the sessions in a group. And in fact, it's much more efficient to do it in a group as well, because other people see how others lose weight, and they want to kind of keep up and show that they keep the program as well. And it's like an unwritten competition about people coming to those meetings. They want to show off that they've done well in between the meetings. So it's actually more effective to do the group meetings than the one-to-one consults. So these are just some ideas for you to think about your business, how you can use those in your business to be more efficient. So what I want to show you now, this is really a funnel that we only built like a month ago, and I want to show you the results. So this is the book I wrote. It's 7 volumes in a collection called Business Unlimited. And we tested 2 sales funnels. So sales funnel number 1 we offered one of the books, and that's volume number 2, for $1 in electronic format. So you download it right away. And the other funnel, we offered 3 tactics as a free download. So in other words, I picked, these are 101 tactics in these volumes. So it's one volume on marketing, one on sales, one on internal efficiency, and so on. So I picked 3 tactics from these 7 volumes, and I gave them as a free download. So I paid for people to get a download of an extract from my book. And the investment was in Facebook ads. We put $1,000 into the sales funnel number 1, and 684 we reduced, because you'll see why, in sales funnel number 2. Now, it's not only Facebook ads that we do, but they are the best in terms of efficiency. So even though we target business leaders, it's still cheaper to get them on Facebook than on LinkedIn on other platforms. So that's why we chose Facebook ads. Now, what we sold, in the first instance, we sold 84 books, $1 each. In the second one, we sold 266. But after they purchased the initial book, we offer them an upsell. So the upsell was different. For one, in this case, it was to buy the whole collection in electronic format, and then the next upsell was to buy the whole collection in a printed version. And then the next one is to come to a workshop. This one was directly towards the workshop, which is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in people coming to this workshop. It's a 2-day strategy workshop, but from that one, people come to work with us either as we provide them services, or they join my inner circle program where we do a lot of mentoring and a lot of things together. So it's higher ticket programs that I offer from this one. So in total, we had, in terms of sales, $368, and the other one $460. So it's more or less equal in terms of sales, but this one is a higher investment. This one is a lower investment, and we offer something for free. So basically, we paid money to give something for free, which then turns into $460, which is still lower than the initial investment. So if you think about it, they both lose money, but in essence, they both earn money for us. And I tell you why. There is another component here, and these are the leads. Leads is people who express their interest in getting the solution that we have. And in case number 1, we have 0 leads because we just offered the book, so it's a straightforward sale. But in case number 2, we offer these tactics for free, and we got 448 leads. So these people, out of these people, only 266 bought, so it's half of them. But the others doesn't mean that they won't buy. It's just that they didn't buy yet. And the reason why I'm saying this is a good sales funnel for us is because it gives me people who buy from us, which enter into our machine. So they enter into receiving more emails, coming to more events, and purchasing something else further down the line. So I am actually paying to get people to come my way and interact with me, and then within a month or 2 or 3, I recover the money and I get way more. So this is one way for us to generate leads and sales and potential clients without doing anything. People who interact with my book, they see that it's interesting stuff in there and they want more. So then they pay more to get more. Does this make sense so far? I see a lot of comments in there. I don't know what's all that chat.
Yeah, no, I'm just making sure everybody has you now. There was some problems with some of the connectivity, but I think now that you're off video, we're in good shape.
Oh, okay.
No, I think we're following that. Just a note, though, we are about 8 minutes to the hour. I know we lost a little time with the connection. So, you know, we want to try to end at the top of the hour. So just want to give you a quick time check.
Yeah, okay, I'll be very quick. So yeah, we are going towards the end. So the question is what to do next. And my suggestion to you is to provide value tomorrow. So literally just think of an email that you can send tomorrow with value to your clients, to people that you've got their email addresses from. And if you don't have emails from people, then it's a good time to start collecting them. And it's a good time to develop a system where you get their emails and you start communicating with them on a frequent basis. So a an alternative is to post something of value to your clients on social media. An alternative is to write a blog post, again, solving a problem that people have, your potential clients have, doing a video on a problem, and also a workshop, which could be a webinar or could be a live workshop, depending on your product or service, depending on your target and where you are on this planet. So how to start is really asking yourself, how can I help people solve a problem? That's where you start. Your potential clients have problems. And when you ask yourself this question, then you attract them come your way. And if you want to continue, then you need to lead your prospects towards your solution. So you start with their problem, then you present your solution by telling a story. That's the most beautiful and most engaging way of getting people to come your way, by telling them a story. And what's next for you? As I said earlier, I invite you to your mission. During this session, you're going to discover what's stopping you from going to the next level. And you'll identify the exact actions that you need to do right now in order to go to the next level and in order to maximize your company's value. Because we go through a 6-step process of kind of auditing or looking at your company. So you identify yourself, and we can help you with that, exactly what's stopping you and what you need to do. And this is also the way for us to provide our services, because we do a lot of online marketing, digital marketing services, as well as business consulting, and a combination of the two. We build brands together. It depends on what you need. We can also help you with systems inside and putting in place various things. So as I said, this is the way that you come to our services. It's called discovery session because you discover what you need in your business, and you also discover how we can work together. We discover that together.